Okay, hello everybody, this is Con in the Renault Koleos all-wheel drive. So initially the Koleos was launched in Malaysia exclusively as a front-wheel drive model. This all-wheel drive version was a later addition to the range. Now the base model, okay, the 2.5 litre front-wheel drive is priced at 182,000 ringgit. This costs 20 grand extra. So for that extra money, what you get, the all-wheel drive train and also a power tailgate, but that's it. These two are the only on paper differences between the front and all-wheel drive models. So the question that that you as the buyer will want to ask is the extra traction of all-wheel drive plus the convenience of the power tailgate worth that 20,000 ringgit top up? Bit of a background. This is the second generation Koleos. Okay, the first generation Koleos was launched around 2010 thereabouts. It was it was a mid-sized SUV based on the Nissan X-Trail, and that one did not do very well, partly because it was very expensive. I think it was more than 200,000 ringgit. Okay, so it was very expensive, and at the same time, mechanically, it's no different from an X-Trail that is much cheaper. Okay, so this one, with that first Koleos not doing very well, yet at the same time, Renault recognizes that the SUV market is a booming market. It is a market segment where every manufacturer who wants to do serious volumes must have a sizable presence in there. So Renault naturally had to stay in the game, but at the same time they needed to revamp the approach, because the first attempt did not work at all. So they completely ripped the copybook on it. They just effectively started off a blank sheet. Okay, and that's why this new one is radically different from the first generation Koleos. Now the mechanical template continues to be borrowed from the X-Trail, but the overall execution of it totally revamped. So styling wise, it is a complete departure from the previous model. So to continue with this review, let's take it outside for a walk around tour. From the outside, there really is no way to tell the all-wheel drive Koleos from the front-wheel drive model, except for this four-wheel drive badge here, okay, and also this maroon color shade here. This maroon color is exclusive. Is an exclusive color for the all-wheel drive model, but everything else, all other features, all other design cues of the all-wheel drive model are exactly as per the front-wheel drive model. So from the front here, you see this is the new generation Renault face, this C-shaped daytime running lights with LED headlamps. Okay, moving down, the fog lamp is halogen bulb type, but is okay lah. So not a big deal with that. So have a look at the front face. You see, this is a very in my opinion, this is a very distinctive, very proud looking face, and overall, right, it really gives the Koleos a very expensive, very upmarket look. Now, whether you agree or not that the Koleos is worth 200,000, okay, as we explore later in the video, one thing we cannot take it away from Renault: this car looks like it is worth 200,000 ringgit. Okay, so let's take a look at the rear. These are the tail lights. So these tail lights have has a very distinctive illumination signature. The LED strip runs along around like this. Okay, it's wide. Okay, it's very wide. Juts out from the light to give a bit of a three-dimensional effect. These are the lower bumper trim, the diffuser trim with rear fog lamps. So the Koleos, okay, to showcase, this has power tailgate operation. Okay, so let's try out the Koleos' power tailgate. Okay, so as you can see, it's a decently spacious boot. Pop this open. This accesses the spare tire well. Okay, there are two compartments either side. So these two small compartments which you can drop small items. Okay, and here this is another one, and there's also a 12-volt socket here, so very useful for you to charge small items on the move. And Okay, so you have a retractable tonneau cover here. Okay, it comes out like this. You can retract, and then here you can release the 60/40 split folding seats. Okay, so you just pull this lever and it tumbles down. Okay, so pull this lever, tumbles down. What about the tonneau cover? How about, where do we store the tonneau cover? So this tonneau cover is removable. Okay, you can remove the tonneau cover, but there does not seem to be anywhere inside to store it. Okay, so you probably just have to leave it lying somewhere. Okay. Right, so coming inside. So this is decently spacious. Now, although the Koleos and the X-Trail share a common platform, Renault has chosen to not offer a 7-seater version of the Koleos anywhere in the world. So globally, the X-Trail can be had in a choice of 5 or 7 seaters. In Malaysia, 7 seaters standard, but Renault gives only a 5-seater version of the Koleos, and immediately you see the benefit to it in rear passenger room. The rear leg room is excellent. Okay, I've got enough space here to cross my legs. Okay, I've got this much of headroom available. Okay, and this is not a cheating kind of leg room. Okay, I sit down here, the seat cushion actually stretches all the way to my knees. Okay, so I am sitting here with good leg room and good thigh support. It's a bit low, okay, so I'll probably have to put my legs down a little, but the seat goes all the way up. Okay, now let's push this up. So we've got ISOFIX mounts here. Okay, but unlike some of the more premium cars, the ISOFIX mounts is like this type where you have to find it here. It doesn't have a plastic bracket here, which now that as a parent, okay, I appreciate cars that have that plastic bracket which you can very easily locate and slot your ISOFIX seat in. Okay, so here is the armrest. Nothing spectacular here, just a molded cup holder. Okay, along the center console, rear air con vents, and usefully 2 USB ports plus a 12-volt socket, so you never run out of juice to charge your batteries. And let's take a quick look at the door card. So this door pocket, okay, this section slopes down, so you can put a bottle here, and it runs here. So it's about this long inside. So let's move to the front. So stepping inside, this looks like a door handle from an X-Trail, straight out of Nissan parts bin. This interior of the Koleos, it's not as expressive looking at its exterior, but at the same time it looks no less advanced. So you have this portrait touchscreen here, and also you have this semi-virtual instrument clusters. Okay, there is an LCD screen in the middle and flanked by the actual analog temperature and fuel gauges. So let's run through the infotainment system first lah. So you see, this is the base, this is the clock screen. Okay, so you go to menu. Response already is so lah. So let's explore the various features. We just look at vehicle. So to control, okay, this background color, okay, you see this is red background color, right? So I choose ambient lighting. I can choose between, this is green, blue, purple, and yellow. So as you can see, it also alters the background color of the instrument cluster as well. Now then come back to this screen. You see, you can also alter the appearance of the instrument cluster, but this one you have to come back out, display, instrument panel. So you can choose between 4 styles here. Let me run through that. 1, 2. Okay, so there are 4 different styles which you can choose from lah. Okay, I mean, it has a few layers of sub menus and all that, and I think the user friendliness of this really it would probably take quite some time to to get accustomed to. You can actually customize the appearance of this, but the customization process appears quite tedious lah. The ergonomics wise definitely could do with some improvement. And so you see here alongside here, these are also touch sensitive surfaces. So this enables you to access the driving assistance features, which for our market is only limited to blind spot warning. Okay, so this one gives you access to the home screen. This is volume control, and this turns off the R-Link infotainment system altogether. Climate control dual zone, so you adjust here. Okay, this gives you access to control fan speed. You have to drag that up, you adjust fan speed. Okay, so let's look at the steering mounted controls. The ergonomics of this car also has is a bit funny. Okay, so you see here is the gear selector lever, here is the electronic parking brake, and this activates cruise control. So you press this on to activate cruise control. This side activates your speed limiter, but the on-off switch is here. To operate cruise control is at this part of the steering. Allows you this actually allows you to scroll through the infotainment system. So where is the volume control? So the audio controls are operated here: volume, mute, okay, mode, and here you control your source audio. Your source audio means that you set AM, FM, and all that. And to browse, you have this rotary knob hidden at the back. If you ask me, this is something that you can familiarize yourself with over time, but it is not my preferred way of operation. I would much prefer to have audio switches right here on the steering spokes where I can see them. Yeah, let's look at the rest of the cabin. So down here you see these are the auxiliary control switches: traction, stability control. This is the 4x4 controls operating switch. You can either set it to 2-wheel drive, leave it in auto, or put 4-wheel drive lock. So 4-wheel drive lock locks the 4-wheel drive system to a split to 50-50 front rear torque distribution split, whereas in 4-wheel drive auto it automatically varies between fully front, okay, or up to 50% rear. But thus far in my time driving this car, I've never seen more than 10 to 15% sent to the rear axle. And let's look at the door card. So this is the door card. This slope section allows you to put a bottle, and it runs about to back here. Okay, yeah, so you can store some like a diary or something like that inside this slot. Okay, so commenting on the overall build of the cabin, I would say it feels solid. The layout also feels visually pleasant, but as I explained earlier, the ergonomics will take some getting used to. Okay, there are some nice touches of materials. For example, this trim strips here. Okay, in this trim strip you can't see it now in daylight, but inside here there's an LED strip that runs inside here, which is visible at night. So it gives the ambient lighting. Running the camera along the center console, allow me to pull this to the back. There is a 12-volt socket here, but no USB ports here lah. Okay, so this section is sort of like a drink holder section. Okay, and it's quite interestingly partitioned, so you can put a bigger bottle or can here, and there is actually a aircon vent here as well. So you can this is how you keep your drinks cool. There's an aircon vent here which allow you to keep your drinks cool. Okay, and it has this nice sliding lid. Now inside here, there is an SD card slot inside there and 2 USB ports, and it is, well, I'll let you judge the depth yourself. It's pretty deep, so you can put a big item in there. Okay, now look at the glove box. Decently big. And now let's see. So up here, yeah, sunglass holder. Right, so having run through the interior, it's time to hit the road. Now, previously I have already driven the Koleos front wheel drive model during my time in Carlist. a link to the review is included in the description section. Have a read if you have the time for that. This all-wheel drive model actually feels a bit more peppy than the car that than the earlier front-wheel drive car, which is unusual, because usually, right, when you compare between the front and all-wheel drive model, the all-wheel drive model usually would have more, will be a bit more sure-footed, a bit, you know, more composed around corners and wet weather. But it is the front-wheel drive model that will feel livelier on the throttle. This could be a result of engine tuning where the Koleos is concerned. Because all-wheel drive models, you always have the added drivetrain weight and drag, okay? Whereas front-wheel drive model, you only spin the front wheels. So it was quite a surprise that this all-wheel drive test car here actually feels livelier on the throttle than the front-wheel drive model. Okay, now I'm looking at my drivetrain now is set on 4-wheel drive auto, which is the recommended mode for on-road usage. Okay, now 4-wheel drive lock. I've not driven this car in the kind of terrain that would require 4-wheel drive lock, so I can't comment on that. Okay, 4-wheel drive lock is meant for more slippery terrain. It is only meant for use at speeds below 40 kilometers per hour. Okay, on loose surface. So with the drivetrain set to front wheel to 4-wheel drive auto, right, I have not seen the display screen showing anything more than 15% going to the rear wheels. Okay, but maybe a bigger portion will be routed to the rear in very slippery conditions. But we're in standard driving, right, I have not seen more than 15% going to the rear wheels. So it does lead us to the argument: do you really need all-wheel drive in an SUV? Okay, I've always been in a mindset that I much prefer my SUVs to come with all-wheel drive. Bobby is okay with front-wheel drive, and if you look at it objectively, right, most modern SUVs, okay, in the market today, because they were conceived, you know, with the front-wheel drive variant in mind, the dynamics of the car, the traction and all that, right, the suspension geometry and all that, right, were all calibrated with that in mind, and the result is that the car drives fine without needing to send traction to the rear. Okay, I always maintain that when it comes to the benefits of all-wheel drive, right, you really only feel it in slippery weather. So the question is, do you really need to spend that extra 20 grand on this all-wheel drive model? Now, I can safely say that when I was reviewing the front-wheel drive model, it did not feel in any way dynamically deficient. For most usage, right, I felt the front-wheel drive version handled confidently enough that this all-wheel drive model here really is a luxury in most driving conditions. Okay, so in some cars, right, when you jump from the front to the all-wheel drive model, okay, you get added you get a more secure handling, but at the same time, the car also feels a bit heavier and more cumbersome. Okay, it is because of the added drivetrain weight. The Koleos here does not have that feel, but primarily because the front-wheel drive Koleos also was not engineered with a sporty drive in mind. So, you know, you go between the front and you jump between the front and all-wheel drive model, right? The differences in the driving experience, right, is not the differences I was expecting. So yeah, for some reason, this all-wheel drive version seemed to feel livelier on the throttle. Okay, the handling feels secure enough. Of course, it is not the sportiest handling SUV in the class, okay. You don't, for example, try to keep up with a Mazda CX-5 on the winding roads. You know, it does not have the same kind of agility. Okay, but it does handle with decent confidence. It manages the, you know, when you go on, let's say, like a fast sweeping highway bend, okay, it does at least manage the body roll well, that when you power your way through, you can tekan it a bit with a fair degree of confidence. The only thing is that the steering, okay, it feels a bit numb. Okay, the weight of the steering is okay. So it's not like those steering where you turn, there's no resistance. There is resistance, but it feels like an engineered kind of resistance. It is not like, you know, when you turn, you sense that resistance, you know how much grip is there on the front wheel. This one, you don't. The weight of the steering feels like it's just there for you to feel it and nothing else. It does not connect with what the front wheels are doing. But that being said, the steering turns accurately enough, and this chassis overall is it feels like a competent chassis lah, okay. The ride comfort is very good, okay. This one, when you see a speed bump, you don't have to slow down too much, just whack it, and the body maintains that composure. So that is very, very commendable. Overall, right, to sum up, right, the overall driving experience of this car, well, it is not a sporty SUV by any stretch of the imagination, okay. So don't take this to chase down a CX-5 or a Ford Kuga, or maybe even a CR-V Turbo, okay, or Volkswagen Tiguan. Don't. But it is secure. It feels secure enough. It feels confident enough that, you know, when you need to go anywhere in a hurry, this car has the dynamics to keep itself together. And if you are faced with an emergency situation, this car will react predictably enough for you to steer your way out of trouble, okay. The choice between the front and all-wheel drive variant, as I say, this boils down to a very personal choice. I do not feel a substantial advantage, okay. So it's a question of whether you feel that 20,000 premium is enough to justify the convenience of the power tailgate and also the all-wheel drive badge at the back, okay. I do not discourage you getting the all-wheel drive model, but I will have to admit the front-wheel drive model is good enough, yeah. Okay, relative to the segment rivals, the Koleos is not cheap, okay. The 2.5 front-wheel drive model is 180 grand. This is 200 grand, and for something that is effectively an X-Trail underneath, that is a bit difficult to justify, I'll admit. But think of it this way: this is like getting an X-Trail, okay, with 2 seats less, but a much better looking exterior and 6 airbags, and it's fully imported, so hence the not insignificant price tag. Yeah, so naturally this is not going to be a mainstream option. It is only going to be a niche option. But look at it this way: this is one niche option, right, where you can pick something that is entirely out of the ordinary to look at, but underneath it is a Nissan. So, you know, this car will be very easy to maintain. Yeah, so you have the external, you know, benefits of driving a niche car, a car that, you know, very few people that will undoubtedly attract attention, okay, because this car has very, very good, the exterior styling of this car has very good road presence. So you will not go anywhere without attracting attention. People will look at this car, and when you park this car, let's say like in a hotel lobby next to the Mahal SUVs like the GLCs 200, the GLCs, the X3s, the X5s, the XC90s of the world, the Koleos really does not look out of place, okay. So that sums up my thoughts on the Renault Koleos all-wheel drive. Yeah, so let me know what you think. Drop me a line in the comment section, and until my next video, thanks for watching. Bye for now.